Sorry about that. My network dropped me for Facebook, or my network dropped me, but I'm back on to continue on. So what I was trying to explain was the fact that when we do this masking, when we hide behind the fact that, we have that pain inside, when we tell ourselves, I don't need to address this now, or I don't want to feel the hurt, or I don't want to feel the pain, or I really just don't want this to be on my mind, but it's actually at the back of your mind, and it's still bothering you. You're still holding on to it. You're still, how do I put it? It's still showing up as part of what you're going through, and you're still dealing with it internally, and it's really bringing you fear and shame. Then you still have to address it. Because every time you run away from it, let me type this out. Every time you run away from the pain or trauma, you're going to run into the pain or trauma. Let me type this out. Anytime you run away from the pain or trauma, you will run into the pain or trauma through someone else. And what typically happens is when you're running away, what you're doing is running away from yourself. You're not running away from anybody else. You're running away from yourself. And when you're running away from yourself, what usually happens is the people that you're running to are bringing that awareness to you that you need to come back home to yourself. Let me say that again, because I really want you to get this part of it. Every time you ignore that pain or trauma and you say, you know what, I'm going to shove this underneath the rug. I'm not going to address this pain. I don't want to think about it because it's hurtful. I really don't care about it. Every time you shove that into underneath the rug and say, I'm going to run to someone who can help me take away this pain, who can help me feel like I'm enough, who can help me feel like I will never be rejected, who can help me feel like I'm loved, who helps me feel that I am good enough. What you're doing is you're running right into a partner who is awakening you constantly, because that partner is going to fail you based on the expectations that you're taking to them that they know nothing about. And what you discover is when that relationship is ending, you now start projecting every single pain that you shoved underneath the rug onto the partner and blaming them for every single thing. And what does that do to you? Emotional pain, more pain that you're acquiring. Emotional health and mental health begins to deteriorate. You start feeling your esteem is going underneath the bridge. You feel like you've been hit by several brick walls falling down, and you're now struggling to really connect with yourself. And what you do typically at the end of that is to mask the pain again by either looking for another partner, going to just have friends with benefits connection, to use sex or drinking or shopping or eating to mask the pain again. But the pain is not going away. The pain is still very much present. The pain is still hurting you. But what you're doing is you're pushing the pain away than to surrender to the lessons that that pain has to teach you and help you master who you truly are. And I've been through that journey, and that journey is what birthed me into the books that I've written. That journey is what birthed me into I got to the point where I was just tired of running away from myself. And sometimes when we hear things like this on social media, we even shut it down because that's another way to cope. I just don't want to hear this now. Don't tell me this. And your ego will be showing up on your behalf and trying to defend you from hearing the truth. But the truth that you're running away from is that truth that you need to set you free. And nobody teaches us these things. And even our society thinks that these things are too sensitive to be dealt with. But then what do we get? More invalidation that whatever we went through in the past is actually valid. more invalidation of the truth that we need to heal, more invalidation that allows us to hold on more to the pain than to free ourselves from the pain and move beyond it. But you have to come to the point where you ask yourself, how long am I going to be running away from this pain? Let me say that again. You have to come to the point where you sit with yourself and say, how long am I going to be running away from the truth that will set me free? I'm running away from the fact that this pain, this trauma, really holds so much of the lessons that I need in my own space to heal, to learn about me, to know me, to build a purposeful relationship with myself, to begin to set the healthy boundaries, to allow me to uncover everything that I need to know rather than me running into the pain and taking the pain as it's okay. None of us was designed for pain. Let me say that. The truth is, none of us was designed for the pain. But what the pain does is to teach us to master ourselves. That pain comes as a result of not knowing who you are, being born into an environment that allows you to learn, that allows you to see things that you would not really want to do in your own life. But because we're usually not conscious of who we are, we think that the life of our parents, the life of our caregivers, the life of those around us are what we need to repeat. And that's how the generational cycles and trauma begin to just continue. You see yourself reliving what you've seen in generations before you, and you're not realizing it's all acquiring generational pain and trauma than healing from them. And the truth is, as long as we use things to mask things on the external, to mask our pain, to mask our trauma, the relationships, the shopping, the sex, the drinking, the addictions, the games, the toys, whatever you call them, the pain never goes away. And that actually begins to deteriorate or decrease your emotional and mental intelligence to where you're losing yourself further. But within losing yourself, you can still hear that still small voice in you trying to call you back to center, trying to call you back to do the work of healing, trying to bring to your awareness that you need to come back home to yourself. And I had to do this fight myself from being a young girl. I got lost in transit. I got lost in my parents' relationship, and I thought that was my life. And I took their own pain, the generational pain, and I because I was the emotional child, and I started to really run, like running from home to go live with this cousin and to try to, get away from that environment. It was just running from myself. And that was how, as a young girl in high school, I decided to run into a relationship in my last year of high school, which got me into an environment where I got raped. And I couldn't even talk about it. I masked that again. I masked that, and I still was feeling unloved, and I was looking for love in the wrong places. And all that was doing to me was allowing me to acquire and attract more pain to myself. And as I was acquiring the pain, I was running to more pain. Because pain always attracts pain. And you cannot love anyone from a place of pain, including yourself. I read that in my book, Beyond the Pain and on Becoming Restored. And as long as you're running, you're running. And I ran for so long until I was married. And it came to the point where the marriage was so toxic, and I was just tired of being caged. I felt like I was in a cage. I felt like I was tied up, and I knew I had to get out because I had gone from a size 12 to a size 2. And it was to the point where I was about to kill myself. And I could look at my child every morning and say, because of this child, I don't want to die. But then when I wake up in the morning, I would ask God, why don't you just take my life and just kill me now? Have you not humiliated me enough? And I didn't realize that the humiliation wasn't even God. It was me doing things to myself because I wasn't consciously aware of those pain that I had shoved underneath the rug. And I had to start owning it. And most of us think that, oh, if I start talking the shame, the guilt, but you know what lies behind the shame and the guilt? Your truth. The truth that would actually set you free. Shame, guilt, fear, ego, they all keep us away from the truth. And I just started to speak my truth. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I had my mentee call the crisis center. And when she called the crisis center and handed me the phone, they were going to send the cops. And I was like, you know what? I'll get out. I'll get out on my own. And I prayed. I didn't even know where I was going. I didn't even know if I was going to be living on the street. I didn't know if I was going to have a roof over my head. I just said, God, if I need to be in your will, and if you're going to keep me alive, and if you really are God that you say you are, then you're just going to have to find a way for me. And I got in my car the next morning and I said, you know what? I'm going to go look for an apartment. I was going somewhere where I had set up an appointment. And before I got to that place, I could hear my spirit say to me, turn into this apartment complex. I got in that apartment complex and they said, there are 3 people ahead of you. You will need to wait. And as I walked out the door, all I did was break down in tears. The manager now came out and said, what's your story? And I said, I just need to find an apartment. And she said, the 3 people before you are waiting for this one apartment that we have, but I'm going to show it to you. And if you like it, let me know. And we got to the apartment and I said, yeah, I'll take it. And she said, give me 2 days for us to change the carpet out. And she gave me the keys. In 2 days, you can move in. And I was like, God, that simple prayer, you really heard it? Because there were 3 people in front of me. First of all, it takes them almost 72 hours to run your credit for them to approve you in an apartment complex. She did it under 25 minutes. That was when I said, God, you're really real. And I developed goosebumps. So I moved in, and then the following day, I moved in on a Monday evening, and then the following Tuesday morning, I went to look for the manager to thank her for helping me out. And they told me she no longer works there. And I had chills all over my body because I was like, God, wait. You planted somebody here because I asked you to take me back into your will, to take me back into my true self. And this woman that you planted here quit right after I got the keys. And for the next 6 months, I was going from coaching to battles with God to really know who I was. 6 to 8 months, I was like, God, I really need to know this journey. I really want to heal myself. And it took me 6 to 8 months to really start learning about my true self. And those 6 to 8 months were even more painful than all the pain and trauma that I had before. And that's because when we mask all the pain and trauma, to begin to heal, you have to go back to peel all those layers back. It's like taking something from when you were a toddler and piling up your toys until they grow into a house. And you go into that storeroom and you have to go back to look for the toy from age 1. You have to dig to the very bottom. And those bricks will start falling on you. And Lord, there were days when I cried. There were days when I laughed. There were days when I realized, God, you've been so stupid. And I would just laugh at myself. I wasn't self-condemning because I know that journey was much needed. And if I hadn't gone through that journey, I won't be speaking to you today. And what I'm trying to really get to is we cannot keep masking the pain because the emotional and mental health issues begin to sink in, and our bodies actually keep a score. Your body keeps a score to where if you hear a word that was said to you when you shove that pain underneath the rug, you will be triggered. You will just have an outburst like, I don't want to hear it. And you find yourself your body becoming jittery. Like you don't even know what got over you at the end of the day when you calm down. But your body has been keeping so much of a score. And that's why you discover that people that keep so much score from tender age tend to have more narcissistic traits than people who are choosing to heal from the journey and really learn. Because we were all born with love. But then what you do when you continue to mask the pain is to become emotionally numb to yourself. To where you're just emotionless. You're not even connecting to your emotions. I just want to mask this pain. I'm going to just use sex to mask this pain. Or I'm going to become an alcoholic to mask this pain. Or I'm going to start just eating or shopping and spending, and I don't know where my money is going. I can't control my spending habits. I can't save any money. And you just find yourself going around in circles. And then you want to do a business and the business is not successful. You want to work somewhere and it's like everybody on the job is attacking you and you don't know where it's coming from because your body has kept all that score that when you get into a place, all you get to become is magnet for everybody's pain. And you discover that the circle that you have, the friends that you have are also in the same place. Give me 1 second. And you discover that the people you're surrounding yourself with are also in the same place. Projection of pain, blaming of other people, not really getting better, but becoming more bitter. And it's like when somebody tries to tell you or corrects you in love, you're like, I don't want to hear that. I don't need that lecture from you. Or the moment you hear the truth show up, you just excuse yourself and try to run. But what are you running away from? The truth is you're running away from yourself. I ran away from myself for so long. I was raped at 17. I did not run into dealing with that issue until I was 41. And boy, it was so painful. Because when I decided to look at myself at 41 to say, you know what? I have to go and forgive this person, but I have to forgive myself first for holding on to that pain, for allowing my body to hold on to such things for so long that every time I had a flashback, I would have an asthma attack. I actually ended up 1 year, I think it was 97 or 90, it was 96 or 95. I was in the hospital for almost 1 year with asthma attacks because I was having constant flashbacks from the rape. But I couldn't tell anybody because I was so ashamed and afraid what would people say or think about me. And at that time I was living in Nigeria, nobody would even believe that you were raped. It is in recent times that Nigerians have really started speaking about rape cases. Because people don't come out after they are raped to say, I'm raped. You can't even say anything. And the person who raped me was actually threatening my life. So I was raped with a gun to my head. And I remember him saying, if I hear you say this to anybody, you'll be done. And I wanted to leave. So I couldn't even say anything. I would go to parties and I would see him. And I'll be forced to talk to him because in my head, in my mind, I'm thinking, he had a gun to my head. He already told me that I would die if I say anything. So I would have to smile, but then I would get home and cry. And nobody knew what was going on with me. And I masked that pain by smoking and drinking. And people didn't know that I was even smoking and drinking because that was part of what was triggering my asthma attacks. As an asthmatic, I was smoking. because that was how I was masking the pain. And I was only drinking champagne. And my roommate didn't even know because I would stay wide awake at night, or I would force myself to sleep once I'm drunk. Every time I had a flashback, I would pull a cigarette. Until I got into college and one of my professors started taking my cigarettes away. And he will give me chewing gums as, here. Once I come in the morning, he's like, open that bag, empty your bag on my desk. And I'll look at him like, Professor A, why are you doing this to me? And he'll be like, empty your bag on the desk. And he'll take my packs of Virginia Slim cigarettes and he will give me chewing gums. And one day I just quit cold turkey because I was like, you know what? If this man keeps taking I buy my cigarettes with my money. If he's taking them and I'm having to chew gum or eat biscuits, then I don't need to smoke again. And the day that I actually quit a cold turkey from smoking was the day I was intubated in the hospital. Because I was like, for them to put a tube down my nostrils for me to breathe, then it's time for me to quit. But then I turned into self-isolating myself and partying to mask the pain again. And no matter how much we mask this pain, the pain doesn't go away. The pain is still there. You mask it for a couple of minutes or hours by partying and either drinking or hanging out with people that are also in pain, and you're all marinating the pain. But then you go back at night and you still have the flashbacks. And the thing is, your emotional health, your mental health are deteriorating. Your self-esteem is out the door. Your ego is on the fly. And what that does is when your ego is awakened, what it does is to present that false confidence. And people think you're confident and it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm this, I'm fly. But it's all behind that mask is a lot of pain. And the people that are consciously aware can recognize it, but nobody will say anything to you. And in my own case, when I healed, I believe last year, 2 years ago, I had 4 friends reach out to me. And they said, we saw everything you were going through, but we couldn't tell you anything. And I said, it wasn't part of your journey. They thought I was going to be angry. And I said, you weren't part of my purpose helpers and pushers to really bring me that awareness. So I'm okay with it. And I forgive you for that. And that came from a place of love, not a place of hurt, because I was already on my healing journey. And I started to realize that everyone I was getting angry with, it wasn't really them that brought me pain. It was the pain I already had that was triggering me to acquire more pain. I have to realize, and I'm going to try and round up because my phone is going to be buzzing. My real estate business, I have some listings and I'm getting people showing it and they're calling me. And you have to realize that it comes to a point where you just get tired. And you're just like a wandering soul. You wake up in the morning and you're just blank. And that's when you really know your emotional and mental health have gone down the drain. You just wake up and it's like, you're even sitting in the midst of people and they're talking and you're just like blank. And they're like, are you here? And you're like, yes, I'm here. But you're not hearing anything because your soul is already wandering and you're in a place where you just want to, you may even be praying for your life to be taken away. You may even be at the end of the road where you're just like, maybe if I sleep, I won't wake up again. Maybe I can get hit by a car. Because those were the thoughts that came to me when I was asking God every single day to take my life. As a teenager, I actually was cutting myself. And nobody knew that I was cutting myself. I would just have band-aids, and I actually became a tomboy in the process. I became a tomboy because I was like, you know what? I at that point, I was telling everybody, I just want to be a nun. But nobody knew what I was going through internally because the shame and the guilt were just making me mask everything. And I was that person that you will see smiling And I became a people pleaser. I can do this for you, I can do that for you, because I was seeking their validation. But nobody could validate me because I was already validated when I was created. I just didn't realize that part of me, that true part of me that I needed to connect to. So I was trying to fix people. I was trying to please people. I was trying to develop all these coping mechanisms to mask the pain. I was trying to really just find a way to get through every day, but at night I was staring at the ceiling. And no matter how much you try to mask the pain or trauma, nothing will change. You will just keep attracting pain and attracting pain. And that attraction is actually the awareness that, hey, Kemi, you need to wake up. These people are not here to hurt you. They're here to bring you the conscious awareness that you can't mask this pain that's taking you away from being emotionally healthy and mentally healthy. And you have to come to the point where you just own every truth and say, you know what? I own the fact that that relationship that I thought that partner was the fool, that partner was the one who brought the pain. I own that part that I played in the relationship. I own that part that I put myself in a situation where I was accepting less than I truly deserve. I own the fact that the other person did not really realize what I deserve because I also did not realize what I deserve. And that's where in your healing process, you begin to forgive yourself. In your healing process, you begin to learn how to set boundaries. In your healing process, you begin to own every part of the journey and say, you know what? I'm going to learn the lessons from every single relationship and friendship and work environment. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to create healthy for myself, because when I become healthy, I would attract healthy to myself. But if you decide to continue to mask the pain and the trauma, your mental and emotional health will just go down. And that makes you feel like your void is just getting wider. And you're sinking your own ship without realizing you're the one sinking your own ship. You're going to blame everybody else. But outside of everybody else, who exists that is allowing and accepting what everybody else is doing? That answer is we are, as individuals. And that's the point where you come to and say, now I want to come back to myself. I surrender to the power of the Most High who validated me. I surrender those things I cannot control. And I come back home to myself to learn about me. I come back home to myself to really own every part of my journey, because my journey is mine and mine alone. I read that in my book, Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality. And as you own that journey, and as you begin to commit to yourself, knowing that you own the journey, you are the CEO of your life. And now that you're choosing to commit to yourself, what are you going to learn about yourself? What are you going to learn about each experience? Like I told you, I'm going to try and round up because my phone is blasting and I've been trying to ignore calls coming in. And you're going to have to surrender and commit to learning. And that part of the journey of healing requires that you grieve first. Grieve to allow yourself to release. Grieve to allow yourself to accept what is and was, knowing that you did not know better then. Grieve to allow yourself to say, at this moment, I'm choosing to commit to me. And as I'm choosing to commit to me, I am also going to choose to focus on me, so that I can leave the external, because the external is only going to take me away from who I am into who they want me to be. And as I focus on me, I will do the work irrespective of what I'm going to learn. Yes, the journey is going to be painful, but as long as I'm committing to this journey, no one can take the power of learning and healing away from me, except I choose to give it away. And so, as you begin that journey, you will discover that your emotional and mental health gets better. You will discover that the happiness is an inside job. You will discover that everything you've been seeking on the external, you already have within, and you're just connecting with it. And you will discover that you will become stronger than you ever were, because we always think that we're not strong enough. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, this is not for me. But have you tried to even do it to be able to discover what lies on the other side of it? What we're sitting in is in the tunnel, in the box that we created. But outside of that tunnel is your ability to reconnect with the light that you are, the love that you are. And as you begin the healing journey, you begin to shed the weight that you carry, and you begin to see falling bricks and stepping stones towards your own greatness. If I didn't take that step 12 years ago, I will not be speaking to you today. I would have died. I was only walking around with 3 pints of blood. Every human has between 8 and 9 pints. And I was at 3. I was a size 2. My hematologist said, I don't know how you made it. But I said the only person who made me make it was God, because I kept asking him to take my life. And I kept challenging him to show me who he was. And he was showing up every single place. And he's still showing up today. And everybody that looks at me now is like, you look more happier than you were before. Because I now have the peace that nobody can take away from me. I recognize that peace has always been with me, but I was choosing to give it away. I recognize that happiness has always been within me, but I was choosing to seek for it on the external. I recognize that I was seeking validation that I already had, that I only needed to connect to. I recognize that I was running away from myself and running to other people, and I was abandoning myself. I was self-sabotaging, and I had to come back home to commit to me. And that commitment journey, I tell you, is so beautiful. If I hadn't taken that journey, I wouldn't have birthed Love, Sex, Lives, and Reality, Being Single Beyond the Pain and Becoming Restored. I wouldn't have become a global speaker. I wouldn't have become a relationship coach. I would have been in the grave. I wouldn't even be here to tell you today that masking your pain is detrimental to your emotional health and mental health, and that your body keeps a score of all those things. And they manifest as anxiety, panic, worrying, resentment, bitterness, and it just goes on and on and on, and nothing seems to go away. Until we own it. Until we choose to commit to ourselves and heal from it. And if I can do it, you all can do it. Yes, it's going to be painful, but it's 120% worth that journey. And as you come to the awareness of who you are, no one can take anything away from you, because you're going to live consciously. You're going to live truthfully. You're going to live purposefully. And as you build that purposeful relationship with yourself, you're only going to walk with people that are also walking in purpose. Your circle will change. Your life will change. And it will just be peace onward. And you will discover that abundance is already there. And you're just tapping into it. You recognize what is toxic and you say, hey, I have healthy boundaries. I'm not going to subject myself to this because I've already done the work of healing myself. And that's what I do to help people. That's my mission on earth, to really help people gain that awakening, to really help people understand that your health and your mental and emotional health are part of who you are. But if you let it go, you're saying, I'm choosing to lose myself. I'm choosing to let go of my esteem. I'm choosing to let go of my confidence. I'm choosing to let go of the light that I am. I'm choosing to let go of the love that I am. I'm choosing to let go of the greatness that I was born and abundance I was born with. And I'm choosing to give it to other people who did not even give it to me. And it's never too late. It is never too late. I did it 12 years ago, and I'm continuing to do it because I'm so committed to it. Every single day that we're granted is a day to heal, is a day to gain that awareness, is a day to begin again and forget what is behind, because the past is history. And if you're not choosing to commit to you and do the healing journey, then you're choosing to be a victim of your own pain and trauma. And that will be so hurtful because you deserve better. You were born to be better. You don't need to drown in those things. You don't need to think about the guilt and shame and fear of what people will say, do, or think, because they did not even create you and they did not even give you this life. You just have to leave it because you're the only one accountable for it. Yes, you will build relationship, but you will build relationship with people that are purposeful, that are truthful, that are healthy. And those are the people that will help you stay on track. Not the ones who will guilt trip you or shame you or condemn you, because they're also still living in a place of trauma, and they're also still in that box when life is actually not limited but limitless. So today I invite you to connect with me if you truly want to go on this journey of healing and becoming emotionally and mentally strong, because you actually were created as a healthy, emotionally and mentally strong person. I invite you to connect with me. Either email me, coaching@kemisogunle.com, connect with me on my website, or DM me on Facebook or any other social media platform to really let's get into a complimentary session to help you begin. You can also join the Purposeful Relationship Inner Circle, which is starting June 18th. In the circle, we learn more about this. We go deeper into things and we really heal. I've seen clients go from saying, I want a relationship, to, you know what, I don't even want a relationship anymore until I get me all together. I've seen clients go from, I don't want to rush into a relationship, into meeting somebody who's healthy. And I've actually had 2 clients get married in 2019. I've had couples that were on the verge of divorce, or some of them already divorced. 21 years, 15 years, 10 years come back together. And that is the journey of walking in your purpose. Because if I did not choose to walk in my purpose, those people that God would have put in my path would have suffered. But I had to surrender to things that I could not control, to things that were greater than me. And I gave it all back to my maker, God himself. And I said, take me and let me walk in your purpose. Because the journey of life is for a purpose. And if we're not living that purpose, then we're only existing. And at the end of the day, when you have to give an account for your life, did you live or did you exist? Did you know you? Did you unmask the pain? Did you really heal? Did you get to where you need to be? And if you're not, then what's stopping you? No one can stop us except we choose to stop ourselves. And it's time to come to that awakening that you need to work on you to get to where you need to. No one can stop you except you're choosing to give your power away to pain and trauma that you don't deserve, because you deserve better. If there are questions, I'll be happy to take your questions. If there are no questions, I'll be signing off. I need to start responding to calls and emails that are coming through for me. And I also need to go grocery shopping. But until we don't have tomorrow, we only have this moment. So if you say, I'm going to try and do it tomorrow, what if you're not here tomorrow? God only gives us this moment. God only gives us the time. And he would always bring us the word in the right season and the right time when we need it. We can choose to run from it, or we can choose to run to it and just own it and marinate on it and work on it and just let it transform our lives for the better, for the greater self, as you connect to your true self. Since there are no questions, I will speak to you soon. Never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to the maker. But while you still have the chance to live, breathe, move, and have your being, remember not to mask your pain, because masking the pain and trauma would only deteriorate your emotional and mental health and will take you away from who you were truly created to be. The true light that you are, the greatness that you are, and the love that you are. You'll have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.